husband admitted during a heated argument that he thinks my sister is more beautiful than me, so I left heartbroken, but now he's begging me to come back. The argument started like any other, small, petty, and fueled by a week of unspoken frustrations. We were in the kitchen, the dishwasher humming softly in the background, and I was unloading groceries while my husband, Ryan, scrolled on his phone at the table. I asked him for the third time to help me put things away, and he responded with a sharp sigh and a curt, "Why are you always nagging?" "I wouldn't have to nag if you just helped without being asked," I shot back, slamming a carton of eggs into the fridge. It escalated quickly. We both had our go-to insults, well-worn from years of arguments. He called me controlling, I called him lazy. But this time, it veered into new, devastating territory. "You're always like this," he snapped, standing up from the table. "Always picking fights over nothing. You're just exhausting." "Oh, I'm exhausting?" I said, crossing my arms. "You sit there on your phone while I do everything around here, and I'm the problem? God forbid you lift a finger to help your wife." He threw his hands in the air. "You're not exactly a walk in the park either, you know." "Sometimes I wonder," he hesitated, his jaw tightening. "Wonder what?" I pressed, already regretting the question. "Sometimes I wonder if I made the wrong choice," he said, his voice cold and clipped. "Your sister, she's just so much more," he trailed off, but the damage was done. "More what?" I demanded, my heart pounding. He looked away, as if he couldn't bear to meet my eyes. "More beautiful. She's easier to be around. She's not constantly on my case. Sometimes I think I should have married her instead." The room went silent except for the hum of the dishwasher. I stared at him, my mind struggling to process what he had just said. "You think my sister is more beautiful than me?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He didn't answer, which was answer enough. My chest felt like it was caving in. All the insecurities I'd ever had, every fleeting moment of doubt about my worth, came rushing to the surface. And he, the man I had trusted, the man I had married, had just confirmed my worst fears. "I can't believe you just said that," I whispered, tears blurring my vision. "I can't believe you." "Look, I didn't mean it like that," he said quickly, his tone softening. "I was just angry." "You're twisting my words." "I'm twisting your words?" I said, my voice rising. "You just admitted that you think my sister is more beautiful than me. How am I supposed to twist that?" "You're blowing this out of proportion," he said, running a hand through his hair. "I didn't mean it. Can we just drop it?" But I couldn't drop it. Not this. Not when the man I had built my life with had just shattered my confidence in a single, thoughtless moment. Without another word, I turned and walked out of the kitchen. I went upstairs, grabbed a suitcase, and started packing. My hands were shaking as I threw clothes into the bag, tears streaming down my face. "What are you doing?" Ryan asked, following me into the bedroom. "I'm leaving," I said, my voice breaking. "I can't stay here. Not after what you just said." "You're being ridiculous," he said, standing in the doorway. "You're really going to leave over one stupid comment?" I zipped up the suitcase and turned to face him. "This isn't just one stupid comment, Ryan. This is about how you see me. How you've probably always seen me. And I can't live like that. I won't." I pushed past him, dragging the suitcase down the stairs. He followed me, pleading now. "Come on, don't do this. I'm sorry, okay? I didn't mean it. I was just angry." But his apologies felt hollow, like he was only saying what he thought I wanted to hear. I didn't respond. I walked out the door, got into my car, and drove away. I spent the night at a hotel, my phone buzzing with calls and messages from Ryan. I didn't answer any of them. I needed time to think, to process what had happened. The next day, I called my sister, Sarah. I didn't tell her everything, just that Ryan and I had a fight and I needed a place to stay. She welcomed me with open arms, completely unaware of the role she had unknowingly played in our argument. For the next few days, I stayed at Sarah's house, trying to figure out what to do. Ryan kept calling, leaving voicemails that ranged from angry to apologetic to desperate. "I'm sorry," one message said. "I didn't mean it. I was an idiot. Please come home. We can work this out." But I didn't know if we could. His words had cut so deep, and I didn't know if I could ever look at him the same way again. Every time I thought about going back, I heard his voice in my head, "Your sister is more beautiful than you." A week later, Ryan showed up at Sarah's house. I was sitting on the couch when I heard the knock at the door. Sarah answered it, and I heard Ryan's voice, pleading with her to let him talk to me. "What are you doing here?" I asked when I saw him standing in the doorway. "I had to see you," he said, his eyes red and tired. "I've been going crazy without you. Please, just hear me out." Against my better judgment, I stepped outside to talk to him. He started apologizing again, saying he didn't mean what he said, that he was just angry and lashing out. "I love you," he said, his voice breaking. "I don't want to lose you. Please come home." I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe that he had just made a stupid mistake, that he didn't really mean it. But a part of me couldn't shake the feeling that his words had revealed a deeper truth, one that couldn't be undone. "I need more time," I said finally. "I can't just forget what you said. I need to figure out if I can forgive you." He nodded, his shoulders slumping. "Take all the time you need. I'll wait as long as it takes." It's been 3 months since that night. Ryan and I are still separated, though we've started talking more. He's been going to therapy, trying to work through his issues, and I've been trying to decide if our marriage is worth saving. Some days, I think about giving him another chance. Other days, I think about how free I've felt without him, how much lighter my life feels without the constant weight of his words and actions. In the weeks that followed, I tried to focus on myself for the first time in years. I started journaling, pouring out my thoughts and emotions onto paper. I went to therapy sessions of my own, seeking clarity about my feelings and the path forward. The therapist encouraged me to explore my sense of self-worth, to rebuild the confidence that had been chipped away over the years. Meanwhile, Ryan's attempts to reconcile became more persistent. He sent flowers to Sarah's house, along with handwritten letters filled with apologies and promises to change. In one letter, he wrote, "I've been blind to how much you've done for me, how much you've sacrificed. I see it now, and I hate myself for taking you for granted." But words were easy. Change was harder. I wasn't ready to trust him again, not yet. Sarah tried to stay neutral, but I could tell she felt awkward about the situation. One evening, she sat me down and said, "Look, I'm here for you no matter what, but you need to figure out what you really want. If you think there's hope for your marriage, then fight for it. If not, it's okay to let go." Her words stayed with me. What did I want? Did I want to fight for my marriage, or was it time to move on? I spent sleepless nights grappling with the question, replaying every moment of our relationship in my mind. One day, Ryan asked if we could meet in person to talk. I agreed, cautiously hopeful that it might help me find some clarity. We met at a park, a neutral place where emotions might feel less overwhelming. He looked different, tired, older somehow. The confident man I had married seemed to have been replaced by someone unsure and broken. "I've been in therapy," he began. "I've been trying to understand why I said what I did, why I hurt you the way I did." I listened as he spoke about his insecurities, his fears of failure, and how he had projected those feelings onto me. He admitted that he had always struggled with comparing himself to others and that, in a moment of anger, he had lashed out in the cruelest way possible. "I know I can't take back what I said," he said, his voice trembling. "But I want to spend the rest of my life making it up to you, if you'll let me." His words were sincere, but sincerity alone wasn't enough. "I appreciate everything you're saying," I replied. "But I need to know that this isn't just about you feeling guilty. I need to know that you truly see me, that you value me for who I am." "I do," he said quickly. I see you now more clearly than I ever have. And I hate that it took losing you to realize it. We talked for hours, delving into the problems that had plagued our marriage long before his hurtful comment. For the first time, it felt like we were truly communicating, laying everything bare without fear of judgment. The decision to try again wasn't easy. It came with conditions, continued therapy, both individually and as a couple, and a commitment to rebuilding trust one day at a time. I moved back home slowly, spending a few nights a week there while keeping some space for myself at Sarah's house. Reconciliation was a rocky road. There were days when the pain of his words resurfaced, and I questioned whether I had made the right choice. But there were also moments of hope, small gestures, like him cooking dinner without being asked, or leaving me notes of encouragement on days when he knew I was struggling. Through it all, I learned that healing wasn't about erasing the past but about finding a way to move forward despite it. And while our marriage was far from perfect, it was stronger in some ways, forged in the fire of everything we had been through. Only time would tell if we could fully rebuild what had been broken. But for now, we were trying. And sometimes, trying was enough.